The second book of cookies, Bourbon Commercial Refreshing Literature Flow. Suyi went through the era of the rise of the internet industry in the parallel world. Get a system of 1 million yuan every day as long as he signs in. He wanted to be a dead salted fish, but he had to start from social software and grow step by step into an internet giant dominating the world. Su Ye's quote. Shenteme 996, my company has weekends off from 9 to 5, with 5 insurances and 1 fund subsidy, which is more beneficial. Author's glass heart, light spray, keywords of the novel. The world's richest person starts with no pop-ups from signing in at 1 million yuan per day. The world's richest person starts with signing in at 1 million yuan per day. Download the full text, and read the latest chapters from The World's Richest Person Starts with Signing in at 1 million yuan per day. Chapter 1. What? Sign in at 1 million per day. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. What? Sign in at 1 million per day. Parallel world. The Dragon Han Empire. Jiang Province, Jiangcheng, Youth Innovation Park. It's already 10 p.m., and the lights inside the wooden company are still brightly lit. Suyi was washing her face with cold water in the bathroom, still shocked by her inexplicable arrival here. He was still cooking instant noodles at home a second ago, and just as the instant noodles were ready to be served on the table to eat, he came here in a daze. Suyi looked at herself in the mirror again. Smooth black medium-length hair. Fair skin. Shining eyes. If we use one word to describe our current situation, it is handsome. Before, Suyi despised those small fresh meats that looked white and tender countless times. The most spoken sentence is a sissy. Now it's her turn to have such a beautiful appearance, and Suyi just wants to say, it's really fragrant. Suyi, hurry back, Mr. Liang is looking for you. A tall and white man with glasses came from behind, patting Suyi's shoulder and saying, Mr. Liang. A guy with a beer belly and a pockmarked face suddenly appeared in Suyi's mind. Okay, I'll go right away. Suyi agreed and turned around to come out of the restroom. Although I don't know why I crossed over for no reason, I'll settle for it now and deal with today first. Suyi, go to Mr. Liang's office quickly. A female colleague at the front desk saw Suyi come in and whispered to him. Okay, thank you. Suyi entered the office area, distinguished the direction and arrived outside the door of General Liang's office. He lightly knocked on the door twice, pushed it open, and asked, Mr. Liang, are you looking for me? The office was not big, and a middle-aged man with a pockmarked face sat behind the solid wood boss's table, watching Suyi enter. Suyi, today's user activity has decreased again. And why are there so few new users added today? What are you busy with over there every day? Why haven't you sent me today's work summary yet? Mr. Liang didn't wait for Suyi to speak before he let out a crackling sound. Suyi was scolded with a bewildered expression on her face. What's the situation? What activity level? What new users are added? What work summary? He has not yet received the memory of his predecessor. How can he answer these questions? Looking at Mr. Liang's angry expression, Suyi could only stand there pretending not to know something, bowing her head and silently receiving training. Why aren't you talking, mute? How do you evaluate excellent employees based on your attitude? Mr. Liang cursed again. Seeing Suyi remain silent for a long time, he didn't mean much. Looking at Suyi's handsome face, 183 meters tall, and symmetrical figure, he couldn't help but feel evil in his heart. Look at you, you pay attention to your appearance all day long. Can handsome people serve as food? Girls nowadays are so realistic, they don't look at their appearance to see their essence. Do you have any connotations? Suyi lifted her head and looked at Mr. Liang, who was talking incessantly. He has already recalled some of the content. Mr. Liang is the founder of Mumu Company and the vice chairman of Jiangqing Internet Industry Association. The company calls Liang Pipi. However, Suyi was a bit annoyed. I'll give you face and let you beep a few words. Why haven't you finished yet? Is there anything wrong with being handsome? Ugly people often cause trouble. Mr. Liang, have you finished speaking? Suyi narrowed her eyes as she looked at Liang Weinan. If a female colleague who is still working outside sees it, she will definitely scream again. Liang Weinan's expression froze. He didn't expect that Suyi, who usually fights or scolds, would use this attitude towards him, except for Suyi, who has a handsome face. What's wrong? Just a few words, do you still have any objections? Go out now and write me a summary of today's work. Looking at Suyi or squinting at him, Liang Weinan felt a wave of discomfort. Can it be that I was still scared by this kid today? Hurry out and complete today's work summary. He pointed his hand towards the direction of the door and said sternly. Suyi looked at Liang Weinan, feeling a little uneasy in his heart, before turning around and leaving the office. Outside the door, a group of colleagues who had not yet finished work turned their heads to look at Suyi as he walked out. Some people gloat over misfortune. Someone empathizes with it. Some people feel pity. Suyi glanced at the sentient beings in the office area and silently returned to her workstation. He looked at the time on the computer and it was already 22:17. At least 90% of colleagues working in the company are still there. Although he also worked in an internet company in his previous life, he has never seen such a place where he left work so late. Suyi couldn't help but feel dizzy as she looked at the various files on the computer. From what Liang Weinan just said, he can also infer that his predecessor should have been a user operation, such as user growth analysis reports and daily records of active users. This position is simply a natural scapegoat. This is true in any company. Poor performance is the responsibility of user operations. The low revenue is the responsibility of user operations. Low click-through rates are the responsibility of user operations. No matter what department, as long as the performance is poor and low, it is always right to shift the blame to the user operations department. Who makes users less active? Suyi is completely clueless about the position of user operation. It is completely impossible for him to do any job analysis. At this moment, without any warning, a sound rang out in Suyi's mind, ding. Congratulations to the host for activating the check.in system. Suyi's mouth curved slightly upwards, causing her female colleague who was secretly glancing at him not far away to feel dizzy. Suyi smiled at me. Fortunately, Suyi did not know the thoughts of his female colleague, and his mind had already sunk into his mind. Since we have traveled through time, how could the necessary systems for travelers be missing? I just don't know how to use this check.in system. Host. Suyi age. 23 wealth. 864.2 yuan. The entire interface is simple, even though Suyi has read many online articles, he cannot understand how to use the system. System, give me a usage manual. Dot. System, do you have a beginner's gift package? Dot. System, your second uncle. Dot. Suyi communicated with her mind for a long time, trying various methods and systems without saying a word. Get it. This is probably a mute system. It seems like it's something that needs to be pondered by oneself, but how should we sign for this check.in? At this moment, Liang Weinan walked out of the office and looked around the environment. Seeing all employees working diligently, he nodded in satisfaction and spoke loudly. Everyone, tidy up your work and prepare to finish work. Take the unfinished work home and make sure to finish it today. It's getting late, everyone go back early to avoid worrying about their family. Without paying attention to everyone's reactions, he turned around and left the house. Lying in bed, Liang Pippi finally left. Damn Liang Pippi, it's just a matter of getting off work late. Why don't you say it's too early? Yeah, dude, it's almost 10:30 before we finish work. It's been so long and you still don't know. Liang Pipi is worried that someone will sue him for not paying the late employees' taxi fares. Damn it, while we're talking, I'll leave first, otherwise I won't be able to catch the subway later. Suyi listened to the conversation among the people next to her and also tidied up her things on her own. After the system was turned on just now, he had already absorbed all the memories, and his predecessor's personal situation was as clear as his fingertips, as if he had experienced it himself. Suyi, do you want to take my car back? A beautiful lady walked over and asked. Suyi, come with me. We happen to be on our way. Another beautiful lady walked over and asked. Suyi, would you like to go and have some late-night snacks together later? A beautiful lady walked over and asked. Suyi recognized that these were women who had long coveted her. However, is it something that you mediocre and vulgar fans can get? No need, thank you. Suyi said calmly. He actually doesn't have much to tidy up, just pick up the home key from the computer desk. The house rented by Suyi is not far from the Youth Innovation Park, making it very convenient for walking or cycling. Wow, Suyi's cold and cool appearance is so handsome. Suyi is so manly. Behind her, a group of women were constantly sighing, and Suyi only felt a moment of dark and refreshing. Before, his appearance had always been ordinary and he had never enjoyed the benefits brought by his appearance. Walk to the company gate and press your fingerprint on the clock-in machine. Employee Suyi, check.in successful. Ding. Successful check.in rewards 1 million yuan. Suyi was stunned for a moment. If he didn't hear it wrong, he heard two prompts. Successful check.in. Reward 1 million. Is it a system? He opened the system in his mind and indeed saw a prompt. Host Suyi successfully checked in on September 1st and received a reward of 1 million yuan. It's just that simple, it's just so rough. Do you have money to use the clock-in system you obtained as long as you clock in? That's too simple, isn't it? The novels that Suyi read before all had systems owned by the protagonist that required effort to receive rewards. The protagonist of fantasy novels is desperately fighting monsters and upgrading, the protagonist of urban novels is constantly striving to make money, and the protagonist of historical novels is constantly climbing the technology tree. Before, when he was reading, he was still thinking. These days, without a single skill, even time travel cannot change one's life. Just, my own system is also too cool. As long as you clock in and out every day, you can earn 1 million. The memory of his predecessor told him that this 1 million is not a monthly shield, but a genuine soft girl coin. A horse with strong purchasing power. In the center of Jiangcheng, the housing prices are only over 3,000 yuan. He can buy 3 units of a 100 square meter house as long as he works one day, and when the economy improves in the future. So I am a reliable rent collector myself. This system, although it's a mute system, is really good. It's definitely necessary. The next day, Suyi paddled the water for another day. By the time I finished work at night, I had indeed signed in again and earned 1 million yuan. It's done, it's done. It seems that there is no need to worry about the future now. Suyi didn't put in much effort this day, but she also gained some understanding of her company. Of course, it is inevitable to deal with all kinds of harassment from young ladies. On the third day, Suyi was called to Liang Weinan's office as soon as she arrived in the morning. Liang Weinan sat on the office chair with a stack of documents in front of him. Suyi, you're here. Take a seat first. Liang Weinan's attitude is different from Monday night, he said with a printed paper in hand. Suyi, you've been with our wooden company for a month now, haven't you? How do you feel? Suyi pondered for a moment. Nima, the problem of Liang peeling the skin is a bit big. How do you feel? How do you feel? Are you feeling a bit pressured? I start work at 8:30 a.m. and finish work at 10:30 p.m. every day. 24 hours a day, only 14 hours in the company. Do you still have the face to ask me how I feel? Mr. Liang, I feel pretty good. The company atmosphere is very good. Liang Weinan smiled proudly and said, the supervisor of your operations department has already drafted excellent employees for August. Because you came too short, we didn't have you this time. Well, it's okay. I just graduated and I need to learn more. Suyi has a good attitude. He can't help it either. In this unfamiliar world, he has been living on the front line of the company for the past 2 days, and he doesn't have the time or energy to go around and take a look. Not bad, your attitude is very good, but you haven't submitted your work summary for the past few days. Is there any reason for that? Looking at Liang Weinan with a kind attitude, Suyi felt very curious. I have also learned from other colleagues in the company these past few days that this guy always gets up early, treats employees harshly, and is good at filling his hunger with empty pie. Why is your attitude so good today? Suyi turned her head and looked around Liang Weinan's office. Sure enough, she saw a small camera on the boss's desk. Mr. Liang, as you know, we have to work until 10:30 p.m. every day. When we get home, we just go to bed and rest. As soon as we wake up in the morning, we have to come to work. How can we have time to write work summaries? 10.30, what, 10.30? Liang Weinan didn't expect Suyi to answer like this, and he repeatedly denied it. Mr. Liang doesn't know, right? Didn't you expect us to finish work at 10:30 p.m. every day? No, don't talk nonsense to me. Liang Weinan quickly stopped Suyi from continuing, waving his hand to signal Suyi to leave first. But secretly harbors hatred in my heart. Sooner or later, this Suyi will have to suffer. Suyi felt proud in her heart, but her face remained calm and she returned to her seat to continue paddling. At 10:30 p.m., Liang Weinan came out of the office on time and asked everyone to prepare for work. Employee Suyi, check that IN successful. Ding. Successful check that IN rewards 1 million yuan. The host will sign in continuously for 3 days and receive an additional reward of 1 transportation tool. Yo! Is there anything new today? Suyi exclaimed in surprise, but what kind of ghost is a means of transportation? Take a look at other people's systems, the rewards are all Pagani-style children, Lamborghini Poison, or Rolls-Royce Phantom, all of which are global limited edition products. No one in China is eligible to buy them except for eating scallion brother. They are just a generation of tools for me. Even if it's a bicycle, you can speak up. Suyi murmured in secret. Moreover, the system did not specify where the transportation tool was placed, what it looked like, or what color it was, which would make it difficult for people to find it. Sure enough, the system is still someone else's good, the child is still someone else's good, the wife is still my own good. Suyi opened the system interface and saw that her personal information had now changed. Host. Suyi age. 23 wealth. 3 million yuan, small amount to be ignored, sign in. 3 days, consecutive signing rewards have been issued. Suyi looked around but couldn't find any clues related to transportation tools, so she had to go downstairs first to take a look. Maybe it's in the underground garage. However, after walking around the underground garage, Suyi did not find any clues. I thought the system might have made a positioning error, so I shouldn't have placed it in the residential area where I rented it. Suyi came up from the garage and saw many people gathered in a place on the Qingyun square. In the crowd, Suyi vaguely saw a pure white car parked in the middle. Is this the transportation tool provided by the system? Suyi took a few steps and arrived at the crowd. What kind of car is this? I haven't seen it before. I don't know either, there's no sign on it. But this car is really cool, driving it out will definitely not run empty. Just this car, as soon as you stop at the entrance of any university in Jiangcheng, there's no need to throw water and someone will get on the car. Sleeping trough, look, this car doesn't seem to have a steering wheel. Yeah, okay, let me take a look. Just as the crowd was walking towards the driver's seat, preparing to investigate, the car suddenly made two chirps. A few people who were about to check the driver's seat retreated in succession, knowing that the owner of the car should have arrived. In the crowd, someone looked around, wanting to see who was driving this car. Some people also took the opportunity of the car door slowly opening to see the layout inside the car. This car really doesn't have a steering wheel. Not only does it lack a steering wheel, but it also lacks gear, throttle, and brakes. Inside the car, there is a small wine cabinet embedded in the driver's seat, with a delicate small dining table in the middle. In the back seat, there is a high-end leather sofa. Looking at the interior decoration, it is more appropriate to say that this is a small bar rather than a car. The gull-shaped door slowly opened, and the interior decoration really shocked everyone's eyes. Is this really a wealthy life? As Suyi advanced, she felt an extra hard object in her pants pocket. He reached out to touch and surprisingly pulled out a car key. It was clearly not available just now. He held the car key and carefully looked at the sign on it. In the middle of the key was a sign that couldn't be seen whether it was a tiger or a leopard, with only two buttons on it. Lock and unlock. He pressed the lock button, and the car made a chirp sound as the fully open door slowly closed. The lights inside the car gradually dimmed. No problem. Su Yexin said that this car is definitely her own, that's right. After successfully locking the car, he also stood around with the crowd and did not drive away immediately. After all, this is too shocking. I am just a little loser who has just earned 3 million yuan through check.in. If I suddenly own such a cool car, how can I explain it to people I know? He saw that among the crowd surrounding him, there were also colleagues from his own company. Suyi only wants to be a salted fish waiting to die, rather than a high-profile wealthy second-generation. The new book set sail, everyone vote for it. Cookie has been studying around for a month, wanting to write better stories for everyone, but without practice, it feels like there has been no progress. If you have any opinions, please help and provide more guidance. Thank you. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Laozi quits working. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Laozi quits working. When there were fewer people at the Qingyun square, Suyi approached the car and got on. He didn't notice. A girl behind her holding milk tea happened to see this scene. I also took a photo of Suyi getting on the car with my phone. Welcome aboard the Tiger City Ranger, I am your personal brain. Suyi sat in the car and heard a soft and beautiful female voice. What functions do you have? Can you drive automatically? Yes, the City Ranger comes standard with autonomous driving function, and there are also many new features, including deformation, flying, diving, etc. Deformation. Flying. Diving. Suyi couldn't help but open her mouth wide. Isn't this the most perfect and adaptable car that people have imagined? When was this researched? What can you become? You can turn it into any mode of transportation according to your instructions. Suyi pondered for a moment. He now has a system and his goal set for himself is to become a rent collector. It's a bit too ostentatious to drive Tiger City Rangers around collecting rent every day. These days, he also saw the appearance of vehicles on the road, which is basically similar to the situation before 2000 years in his previous life. Then you can help me become like Pusan and preserve all the characteristics of Pusan. Okay, it will take 8 hours to deform. May I ask if the deformation has started? Upon hearing Jinao say it would take 8 hours to complete the transformation, Suyi shook her head repeatedly. You can send me back to the community first, and then you can transform yourself. The next day, Suyi arrived downstairs and drove the transformed Pusan to the company. Who could have imagined that by the time I arrived at the company, it was already a morning meeting due to parking and waiting for the elevator. Liang Weinan was standing in front of the employees, constantly speaking. Seeing Su Yi push the door in, he glanced at the clock in machine, which showed that it was already 8:33. Su Yi, please stop. Su Yi stopped and looked at Liang Weinan in confusion. Do you know that you are already late? If you're late, you don't feel any shame about sneaking into the crowd. Look at the watch, it's already 8:33. Su Yi picked up her phone and carefully checked the time. Mr. Liang, I'm sorry, it's only 8:29 now. Liang Weinan saw Su Yi actually contradicting him. What do you mean, do you work according to your own time or the company's time? I don't care if it's 8:29 or what, the company clock in machine is now 8:33, so you're late. I really don't understand how many things you young people are busy with every day. Even the most basic working hours can be late. Among the employees, many female colleagues looked at Su Yi with concern. They didn't know why, but Su Yi, who was originally soft and sticky, dared to confront Liang Weinan. This week has only been a few days, and both of them have had 2 arguments. Su Yi, just admit your mistake. Yes, let's just compensate Mr. Liang. It's still you who will suffer in the end if you continue to consume like this, endure it. There's no way, coming out to work is just a way to get angry. Several female colleagues who were very close to Su Yi whispered their advice. Su Yi shook her head. Mr. Liang, as long as you're around, don't push people too hard. Upon hearing these words, Liang Weinan laughed angrily. Why don't you just let me know about it? What kind of thing are you, dare to teach me a lesson? I have been living in Jiangqing for 20 years, and I have never seen such a talented young person like you. The female colleagues who spoke just now are all afraid to speak. Even some male colleagues stopped their voices. Liang Weinan is known by many colleagues in Jiangqing, despite his appearance as the president of an internet company dressed in a suit every day. This guy used to work in demolition, with a group of idle little thugs under his command every day. Since last year, the Long Han Empire said that it would vigorously develop the internet industry. Liang Weinan saw the opportunity and established the wood company. If you haven't seen it before, it means you have limited knowledge. Stupid 13. Sui vaguely felt that she was impulsive today. But Liang Weinan is really annoying. Anyway, he has 3 million yuan on him now and a car. Saving some money is enough for him to find his next job. Yes, Sui actually had plans to resign long ago. Are you special? Liang Weinan was so angry that he prepared to cross the crowd and attack Su Yi. But it was held back by several directors. Mr. Liang, calm down, it's not worth following a young person. Mr. Liang, you have a large amount, give Xiaosu a chance. Liang Weinan was held back by several people and couldn't move. Su Yi, why don't you get out of here? I'll tell you you're fired. Dismissal. Su Yi looked disdainfully at the chubby Liang Weinan who was being pulled by the crowd. You can't fire me because I'm not doing it anymore. Liang Weinan was startled by Su Yi and immediately reacted. Stop working. I'll tell you, your salary won't be paid until next month. This month, I want you to stay at home and eat dirt. Silly 13, get lost. Su Yi no longer beeped with Liang Weinan and walked straight through the crowd to her seat. Open the computer and delete all personal information and work files inside. On Liang Weinan's side, due to Su Ye's reasons, the morning meeting could only end without a resolution. He stood at the door of his office, watching Su Yi pack up his things. I was secretly calculating how to deal with him. Seeing Liang Weinan like this, Su Ye's colleagues dared not approach him and could only secretly glance in this direction with their spare light. Su Yi tidied up the things inside the computer and didn't pay attention to the water cup on the desktop, so she stood up and prepared to leave. He looked at Liang Weinan. Just when Liang Weinan thought Su Yi had turned back and wanted to come and beg him, Su Yi spoke. Liang Weinan, you are just a scammer. In order to save a little taxi money, we have to finish work at 10:30 every day. Just to escape the supervision of the Internet Association. Colleagues were all shocked. Inema. Sui, this child dares to say anything. In the morning, I specifically adjust the clock in time to allow employees to come to work earlier. Just for those 5 minutes, how about you? Are you Huang Shiren? Upon hearing this, everyone was already drunk. I thought Suyi was just venting casually. But currently, it seems like it won't stop for a while. I've been in the company for so long, and I've never seen you give me a benefit before. Even if you don't receive benefits, you're still withholding your salary. What I do with you is the hardest work, with the lowest salary. Why? Did Liang Weinan save the world in his previous life or something? Colleagues, both male and female colleagues have been impressed. Suyi, this child is amazing if he doesn't make a name for himself. I took the wrong medicine today. A person who is usually so weak actually shoots one after another. Although everyone has expressed their opinions, this is too bold. Liang Weinan's angry lips trembled, and his chubby beer belly couldn't help but tremble with fat. You, get out of here. Suyi looked contemptuously at Liang Weinan and scanned the reactions of his colleagues around him. Many people gave him a secret thumbs up. It can be seen that although they dare not speak on their own, speaking these words from Su Ye's mouth still made them feel comfortable. Hee. So, now, I have a showdown. I won't pretend anymore. I'm just going to curse you to death, Liang Pipi, Huang Shiren, Pai Lian, the Great Grassland. Next to me, it's quite refreshing, and I haven't realized what the grassland means yet. Suyi gave Liang Weinan a middle finger. Turn around and leave gracefully. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Interview Failure. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Interview Failure. Liang Weinan returned to the office, feeling like he was about to be blown up by Su Ye's anger. After a moment of relief, he picked up the phone and dialed it. Hey, Sanzi, find time to help me tidy up someone. Okay, second brother. Liang Weinan gave Su Ye's information to the other party. He has information about Su Yi, including his address and parental relationships. After putting down the phone, Liang Weinan became increasingly angry as he thought about it. Pick up the phone again. Hey, wait for a notice, Jiangqing Internet Association will ban Su Yi. Okay, Vice President, I will issue a notice immediately. Liang Weinan smiled bitterly. I've already said hello to both black and white, isn't Su Yi awesome? See if you will beg me for mercy today. Young people, without being beaten by society, always think that the world is the second and the third. Today, Mr. Liang will give you a lesson. Su Yi naturally did not know about Liang Weinan's actions. He did have some regrets after leaving the company. Resigning means he will lose 1 million in a day. Extraordinary, impulsive. Now he has to look for a job again. He drove back to his rented house, sorted out his resume, and prepared to go to the talent market of the Youth Entrepreneurship Park. Su Ye's goal is very simple. It doesn't matter if you don't have money, it's mainly about working early at night, not being pressured by leaders, and not having colleagues around 3 or 8. Qingyun Park was newly built in Jiangqing last year, which is specially prepared for the internet industry. After Su Ye's consumption stopped coming, it was also 10 o'clock. XX Company is recruiting a customer service representative with a base salary of 1,800 and a high commission. Recruitment channel manager for XX Company, salary interview, and excellent treatment. XX Company recruits troops and horses. Because it's not a weekend, there are many corporate stalls in the talent market, but there are relatively few people coming to apply. Su Yi walked around and finally found a desired company. XX Company is recruiting office clerks, with weekends off from 9 to 6 in the morning and a salary of 1,500. Those with higher abilities can have face-to-face interviews. That's right. This is the goal that Su Yi is looking for. This company is responsible for recruiting a skinny girl wearing glasses. Hello, are you still hiring clerks in your office? Oh, hello. Young Lily was dozing off when she heard Su Ye's question and quickly answered. When she rubbed her eyes and saw the person across from her clearly, her mouth couldn't help but open wide, wide open. Well, this boy is too handsome, isn't he? Is he my Prince Charming? Su Yi looked silently at the girl in front of her, who had no image and was almost drooling with her mouth wide open. Hello, are you still recruiting for this clerk position? Move, move. Young Lily stood up and took out a chair to arrange for Su Yi. The thought of having such a handsome boy in her company in the future made her a bit uncontrollable. You're applying for a clerk, right? Did you bring your resume? Su Yi handed the pre-prepared resume to Young Lily and waited for her response. Born in 1997. My birthday on March 5th. Pisces, I don't know if it matches my Capricorn. I graduated from Jiangqing University majoring in Internet. Well, this is just this year. This little brother has just graduated, maybe I still have a chance. Young Lily, come on, happiness depends on oneself to strive for. My father is 48 years old and my mother is 46 years old. She works at a toy factory in Shenteme. Oh, my father is still the factory director, not bad, not bad. Young Lily looked at Su Ye's resume and quickly decided on the names of the future two children, including which kindergarten to attend, what backpacks to buy, and how often to go to the amusement park. Your information meets our company's requirements very well. I will submit my resume to our HR manager next noon. By the way, I would like to ask when you can start working as soon as possible. At any time. Young Lily's heart was uplifted, but her face remained calm. Okay, I will notify you as soon as I have news. Thank you. Su Yi stood up and prepared to leave. At this moment, Young Lily's phone suddenly rang. She looked at the caller ID and waved to Su Yi. Wait a moment, our manager is on the phone. Hello, Manager Ren. Xiao Yang, the Internet Association has just issued a notice that companies across Jiangqing are not allowed to hire one person. Ah. Don't tell me, it's a person named Su Yi. Please pay attention. Su Yi. Young Lily held the phone between her ears and shoulders and quickly flipped through Su Ye's resume. Why is it not allowed to hire him? Don't ask about the reason, that's what Mr. Zhang specifically called me just now. You can handle it. Okay. Young Lily hung up the phone and looked at Su Yi with a helpless expression on her face. Sorry, you may not be suitable for our company. Su Yi was puzzled. Didn't you just say that I am very suitable? Why is a phone call not suitable? Playing with people. But when he saw Young Lily's appearance, he didn't say much. Take the resume from her hand and turn around before leaving. Next, Su Yi went to 4.5 companies to submit resumes. The personnel responsible for recruitment were initially very welcoming and had a good attitude. But once I received Su Ye's resume, my face changed instantly. One by one, they stuttered and refused Su Yi. Until 12 noon, Su Yi felt hot and hungry, so she had to stop working on submitting resumes. At this point, no matter how slow his reaction was, he realized something was wrong. It's reasonable to fail to submit a resume to a company. Going to so many places has failed. There must be something fishy going on here. Who could it be? Liang peels off the skin. Only him. Su Yi has not offended anyone recently. Only when he resigned in the morning did Liang Weinan give him harsh words. He said he couldn't find a job and went home to eat dirt. However, this guy actually has such great energy that one person can command the entire Jiangqing company. Su Yi doesn't believe it. He put this matter aside and will solve it after dinner. I don't believe it anymore. He can cover up the entire Jiangqing just by peeling off his skin. Suddenly, Su Ye's phone rang. Liang peels off the skin. Su Yi glanced and hung up directly. This guy is definitely here to make fun of himself. As soon as I hung up, the phone came in again. Su Yi hung up on his phone more than 10 times, but Liang Weinan persevered and continued to call. Hello. Kid, I heard you're going to meet. Before Liang Weinan finished speaking, Su Yi hung him up. Liang Weinan on the other end of the phone was furious. But he didn't continue to ask for trouble. He believed that tonight, Su Yi would definitely crawl back like a dog and kneel in front of him, begging for a way out for him. Dream your cool spring and autumn dreams. Liang Weinan smiled proudly, as if he had already seen Su Yi shaking his tail and begging for mercy. After Su Yi hung up the phone, her gaze changed. Surprisingly, I saw a poster. Jiangqing Youth Entrepreneurship Park Entrepreneurship Support Plan, end of this chapter. Chapter 4. I want to rent the smallest office. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. I want to rent the smallest office entrepreneurship. Su Yi is definitely not unfamiliar with this word. In his previous life, as an internet practitioner, he admitted to running some real businesses. That's the dimensionality reduction strike. Apply internet thinking to physical stores. That customer source so the revenue. Su Yi started her business after making a complete plan. However, only half a year. He invested 240,000 yuan, but in the end, he returned less than 40,000 yuan. Who knew that a small fried chicken restaurant had lost all the wealth he had accumulated over the years? From then on, he became as afraid of the word entrepreneurship as a tiger. Entrepreneurship. It's impossible to start a business in this lifetime. Every year, there are so many highly educated and experienced experts entering the market, and how many can succeed? Have eaten. Su Yi wandered around and arrived at the Entrepreneurial Service Center of the Youth Entrepreneurship Park. I have no choice, since I know that Liang Weinan intends to harass him. Even if he goes to many companies to apply for a resume interview, the result will still be the same as now. Instead, it's better to go to the service center and take a look. Maybe there is a new company over there that needs to recruit. Su Yi walked happily to the Entrepreneurship Service Center, pushed open the door, and saw inside. Empty and empty. There is no one to handle the business. Several little sisters responsible for entertaining clients were leaning against the front desk, chatting aimlessly. Seeing Su Yi come in, a young girl walked over. He was wearing a dark blue professional suit with a red tie hanging from the collar. Her hair was coiled behind her head, and she wore a pair of large framed flat glasses on her face. Hello sir, may I ask what kind of business you are handling? Su Yi looked at her with a somewhat awkward expression. How to say it? Saying you want to find a job. Why don't you go to the talent market when looking for a job? Instead, you come here. Well, you don't have to worry about me, I'll just take a look. Su Yi saw a golden badge hanging on the girl's chest, with her name and job number written on it. Li Qianqian. Li Qianqian smiled slightly, as if she couldn't feel Su Ye's rebellious appearance. You can take a look at our latest entrepreneurship policy this year. As she spoke, she handed Su Yi a color-printed single page in her hand. Su Yi took the order, glanced around, and took 2 quick steps to get rid of the girl. How could Li Qianqian make the duck in his hand fly away? She has been at the Entrepreneurship Service Center for almost a week now and has not recruited any entrepreneurs. Quickly following Su Yi, he said, this year, Jiangqing has lowered the threshold for entrepreneurs to enter. As long as we prepare 100,000 yuan of funds, we can start our own company. And enjoy the 5+3 financial subsidy from the Jiangqing City Lord's Mansion. 5+3 fiscal subsidies. That's right. Seeing Su Ye's question, Li Qianqian felt proud in her heart. In order to encourage entrepreneurs to invest funds in research and development, the city lord's government has stipulated that all entrepreneurs who meet the requirements can enjoy a 5-year tax exemption, followed by a policy of having taxes for the next 3 years. At the same time, companies that pay employees Social Security will also receive a 20.3% Social Security subsidy from the city lord's government. If your funds are tight, our financial department can also serve you. A maximum of 1 million yuan can be used as a 2-year interest-free entrepreneurial loan, and as long as it meets the standards, it can be issued to the enterprise account within 2 days. Moreover, there is a huge positive news for entrepreneurs within the Youth Entrepreneurship Park now. What news? If you rent an office in the Youth Innovation Park, there is a rent-free policy for the first half of the year, and there is also a preferential policy of renting for 1 year and getting 1 year free. You can fill out this form, and in about half an hour, your company will be successfully created. Suyi looked speechless. I'm really looking for a job. I'm not here to start a business. Entrepreneurship is so tiring, I don't want to start a business. May I ask if you have any further concerns? Li Qianshan looked up and asked. She is just as tall as Suye's shoulder. Just now, the two of them walked far away without feeling it. Now Suyi stopped. Li Qianshan, who was 165 meters tall, had to look up at Suyi. At this moment, Li Qianshan suddenly felt startled. The boy in front of me is so handsome. Well, I don't have any concerns, but I just came here today to take a casual look. I didn't think about setting up a company or anything. Suyi said with a hint of embarrassment. It's okay, starting a business is actually quite simple. Judging from your appearance, you may become a big shot like Ding Sancher, Zhang Jiuyang, and Wang Dongji in less than a year. Suyi knows a little about these 3 people. Ding Sancher is the founder of NetEase, Zhang Jiuyang is the founder of Shouhu, and Wang Dongji is the founder of Holang. These 3 people are currently the hot and influential figures in the internet industry of the Long Han Empire. It is also a goal that countless young entrepreneurs strive to emulate. However, starting a business like this is a bit too sudden. The conscience of heaven and earth, Suyi is very resistant to entrepreneurship from the depths of her heart. Li Qianshan looked at Suye's hesitant expression and decided to give him more effort. Sir, actually you don't have to worry too much. If the company created lacks revenue or the project fails, you can also handle company shutdown business on our end. Can the company also shut down? Yeah. As long as the financial approval is approved, your company can be closed without any outstanding debts. Li Qianshan's words completely made Suyi surrender. Since it can be shut down, what else are you afraid of? Excuse me, can we establish a company today if we handle the procedures now? Of course. We are a one-stop entrepreneurial service center here. All the procedures can be processed here. Look, it's only 2:20 now, and your company can be established before around 3 o'clock. If Suyi wants to establish a company today, maybe she can catch up with the clock in. Looking at the entrepreneurial information registration form in front of her, Suyi began to fill in the relevant information. Li Qianshan couldn't help but chuckle as she looked at Suye's crooked crawling words. I didn't expect such a handsome little brother to write so ugly. Suyi. Memorizing the name silently in her heart, Li Qianshan asked Suyi to go to his Dragon Han Empire ID card and have it copied. While waiting for the teller to input information, Suyi turned her head and asked Li Qianshan, who had been by her side all along. Excuse me, can you rent an office here? Sure. There are currently 4 buildings in the Qingyun Park, only building 1 is almost fully occupied, while the other building 234 is empty. Mr. Su, please wait a moment while I go get the relevant information. Suyi looked at the back of Li Qianshan leaving, feeling puzzled in her heart. What's wrong with myself? I was fooled by this girl and started a company. Mr. Su, you can take a look. These are optional office materials. Suyi took the folder from Li Qianqian's hand and carefully looked at it. According to the information, the minimum area of the office is 200 square meters and the maximum is 1,800 square meters. There is also a note stating that if necessary, you can contact the Entrepreneurship Service Center of the Youth Entrepreneurship Park to help connect. Merge several small offices into one large one. Suyi shook her head. Mr. Su, is there anything inappropriate? No, it's not. I am alone now, and it is not possible to recruit too many employees in the short term. So these offices are too big and wasteful for me. I just need to rent the smallest office. Although Suyi was persuaded by Li Qianqian to start a company. But he had already figured it out. His company does not do any business. We also do not recruit any employees. The only office equipment is a clock-in machine. So, what do we need to do in such a big place? Dancing. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Qingyun Technology. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Qingyun Technology. Hear Su Ye's words. Li Qianqian was very puzzled. Other entrepreneurs come here to rent an office as large as possible. To avoid being unable to accommodate more employees in the future when the business expands. But Suyi is good. Not only don't want the big one, but also the smallest one. It's like this, Mr. Su. There are no corresponding room types for small office spaces in Building 234. If you really need it, you can take a look at Building 1. Li Qianqian remembers. On the second floor of Building 1, there is a relatively small room. Because there have been no entrepreneurs renting for a long time, it has been vacant for a long time. Is there any in Building 1? Suyi picked up the office materials of Building 1 and looked at them. Building 1, Room 201, with a room area of 57 square meters. His eyes lit up. That's right, that's what he wants. What is a 57 square meter room enough for? It's about the size of a single apartment. People who truly want to start a company will never choose. I just didn't expect to encounter Suyi, this strange person. It's him. Suyi said decisively. Li Qianqian rolled his eyes without any trace. Okay, I will arrange for the property management to clean your room right away. Li Qianqian has just left. The teller responsible for reviewing company information for Suyi placed the information form he filled out in front of him. Hello, the companies you just filled in have duplicate names. I suggest changing them. Oh, okay. Suyi took the information sheet and looked at the 5 company names she had worked hard to write. 1. Alibaba 2. Tencent 3. Xiaomi 4. ByteDance 5. Baidu. I thought I would never see these companies again when I traveled to the Long Han Empire. I didn't expect it. Surprisingly, they can really have the same name. What company name should I choose? Suyi suddenly remembered. When he was in school, he loved an ancient essay very much. Preface to Tinyuan Pavilion. A sentence inside has always inspired him to study hard in his youth. When old and strong, it is better to move the white-headed heart, poor yet resilient, never falling into the blue cloud's ambition. Anyway, there's no good name right now, why don't you choose 2 words from this sentence? Old Poor Company. Old White Company. Baisho Company. Suyi was worried that naming like this would make people think they had traveled to the world of older entrepreneurs. Jianyun Company. A puzzle company. I don't know why. Seeing these 2 names, Suyi always felt like she was a staff maker. So high official position, this is good. As the saying goes. Depeng rises with the wind in one day, soaring up 90,000 miles. High official position. These 2 words give me a strong feeling when I hear them. In the future, when you brag to others, they will ask you where you work. Answer Qingyun Company, 100% making everyone unaware. I thought it was a large conglomerate. Okay, that's him. The teller took the information form filled out by Su Yi and saw that only an additional company name was added to it. It's still very simple. I thought there would definitely be a collision this time. Unexpectedly, when he entered the information, he detected that the name had not been registered. He couldn't help but marvel. At this moment, Li Qianqian also walked over. Mr. Su, the property management has already contacted you and will immediately send someone to take you on site for a look. If there are no issues, we will sign the contract. Su Yi sorted out all the company's information, stood up and shook her head, saying, "Don't be so troublesome. I'll take a look at the house later." "Well, that's okay. Mr. Su, has your company been established yet?" "It's done. May I ask what your company's name is?" Qingyun Technology." After Su Yi signed the contract with the property management, she went straight to her rented office. The first and second floors of Building 1 in Qingchuan Park are all upgraded units. The floor area of 201 is 57 square meters, but the property has already divided the rooms into 2 floors in advance, and both floors can be used for office. The room is equipped with complete tables and chairs, as well as a water dispenser. Su Yi even went to the bathroom specifically to take a look and cleaned it very clean. The most important thing is check-in machine. There is a fingerprint check-in machine on the left side of the entrance. Su Yi took the instruction manual and tried for more than 10 minutes before finally entering her fingerprint. Ding! The host has successfully created a company and the system is about to be upgraded. The expected upgrade time is 12 hours. Su Yi was already mentally shaken when she heard a clang from the system. I thought I triggered some hidden function in the system. Who knew it was actually a system upgrade? Upgrading will take another 12 hours. Your sister. Does this mean that today's check-in reward is gone? System, give me a rough idea. Give me the reward for checking in today first. Despite Su Ye's mental turmoil, the system remained silent. Completely mute. Unable to do anything, Su Yi had to give up and turn around to tidy up her office. Don't look at Su Yi as a big old man. But he is particularly fond of tidying up and organizing. I have been tidying up my cabin after work these days. Not to mention how well I cleaned up, at least I lived comfortably. After organizing, he took out his phone and took a beautiful photo. Open Muumuu's moments. From today on, we will also become bosses. Picture, after posting on her social media, Su Yi noticed that it was already past 5 o'clock. He tore off a piece of paper from a notebook and began to brush and write. Qingyun Technology, Rules and Regulations. The first rule is to work 9 to 5 and have weekends off. The second rule is to refuse overtime, starting from me. Article 3. None at the moment. This is Su Ye's own company. Of course, he is the final say. Starting from today. He wants to be a person who loves life. Plant flowers and vegetables in the morning. Drinking under the moon at night. Weekend self-driving tours and nationwide trips during holidays. Su Yi leisurely went home, but he didn't know about the friend circle he just posted. It's on fire. A female colleague from Muumuuu Company who has been paying special attention to Su Yi. While scrolling through the circle, I unexpectedly saw Su Ye's newly posted content, and everyone rushed around to spread the word. Take a look at Muumuu's moments. Su Yi has posted updates. Take a look at Su Ye's updates. He has become the boss. Take a look at Su Ye's newly established company, with bright and clean windows, exuding the aura of a large corporation. Take a look at the sales performance of Su Yi Company. It has already been reported. Have you heard that Su Yi has opened a company and is currently discussing cooperation with Yuan? It's already a matter of many skills. Su Ye's collaboration with NetEase has already earned several million. I really want to go to Su Ye's company. I can't stay at Muumuuu anymore. Yeah, I can't stay any longer either. I don't know if Su Yi is still recruiting people. Let's go ask. Okay, I'm thrilled to think of working with Su Yi in the future. The news is not only spread among company employees. Even Liang Weinan, who had been staying in the office, heard it. He summoned a tall and white employee and asked. What are they talking about? I heard that Suyi started a company and posted on her social media using Mumu. Many colleagues now privately say they want to ask Suyi if they can recruit people. That's it. Liang Weinan kept tapping his boss's desk with his fingers. Wave your hand to signal by Pangao to go out first. I didn't expect this kid to miss the interview. I started my own company. But do you think I can't deal with you anymore? Dreaming. Liang Weinan picked up the phone in his hand. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. System Supplementary Signing Tasks. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 7. Honest Man Chen Nanfeng. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Honest Man Chen Nanfeng. Suyi regretted it as soon as she entered the office. He wore this outfit when he came out in the morning to complete the signing task. But the system didn't say he should wear it for a day. He didn't bring a set of clothes that could be changed. Do you want to wear red and stay in the office for a day? During lunch, there were so many people in the cafeteria. When I finish work at night, I should be okay. However, even so, Suyi couldn't bear it. Painful and almost autistic. Along the way, Suyi knew that there were still many people taking photos of herself. The Qingyun Park itself has a forum. It serves entrepreneurs and employees within the park. It can be foreseen. There will definitely be my own post on the forum today. Mumu Company. Liang Weinan has already arrived at the company early. Recently, the number of active users in Mumu has been continuously decreasing, while the number of new users is decreasing. He has taken several training courses in the internet industry before. Knowing that users are the primary indicator when creating a new company. Without users, no matter how good the business philosophy or model is, it is useless. That is a castle in the air and a paper talk. Not for a while. The employees of Mumu Company have basically arrived. They all consciously stood at the company gate, waiting for Liang Weinan's morning meeting. Today we will talk about users' issues. Everyone knows about the recent decline in the company's active users, right? Li Hui, you are in charge of the operations department. Can you talk about it? Liang Weinan pointed to Li Hui, the head of the operations department. Li Hui is his staunch supporter, dressed in appropriate professional attire and wearing a pair of black framed glasses. She walked up to Liang Weinan and carefully stepped back half a step. Good morning, Mr. Liang, colleagues. I have also studied several times with Mr. Liang about the decrease in the number of users recently. I believe there are several reasons for this. Li Huiqin cleared her throat and glanced at Liang Weinan. Liang Weinan nodded at her. The first point is that Suyi, who was previously responsible for user operations, was not diligent and responsible in his work. Mr. Liang repeatedly emphasized the importance of putting users first, but he ignored it. I have nothing to do at work every day. So, he bears the primary responsibility for the sharp decline in the number of users. After Li Hui finished speaking, many female colleagues below were unhappy. What's this about Suyi? Xiao Su works so diligently. That's right, if Suyi has this level, just send him directly to the competing company. Keep it down. Li Hui has been walking very close to Liang Pipi recently. Let's be careful when we talk. I see her running to Liang's peeling office every day for a long time, and I don't know what the two of them are discussing inside. Li Hui is crazy about wanting to take office. Even if Liang Pipi is so ugly, she can take action. Hey! What you're saying is a bit of a truth. Stop and stop, we don't believe in rumors or spread them. Li Hui looked down at the discussion below, thinking that what she was saying hit the nail on the head. She couldn't help but curl up the corner of her mouth slightly and clapped her hands to signal silence. Pop pop, here's the second point. Colleagues should also pay attention to the overall grasp of the company's activities, rhythm planning, advertising channels, and copy content. I don't have a very thorough understanding of Mr. Liang's visionary strategic deployment. Thirdly, regarding the technical department. Some colleagues in the technical department have been found to be procrastinating. Especially for colleagues like Chen Nanfeng and Wang Yifei, Manager Liu has said it many times and hopes you will take it seriously. Li Hui bowed to Liang Weinan and walked back into the team. She didn't see it. Chen Nanfeng's face, who was criticized by her name, instantly turned very pale. Liang Weinan walked up with a document in his hand. Manager Li's summary just now was very accurate. There has indeed been a negative trend of overcrowding within our company recently. Now, let me read out this week's list of penalties. Technical Department, Chen Nanfeng, negligent in work, deducting salary. Chen Nanfeng doesn't know how he got back to his workstation. The number just spoken by Liang Weinan. Let him all be shocked by it now. 1,000 for Chen Nanfeng, whose overall salary is only 3,600 yuan, this is a huge number. Besides, his wife is already 7 months pregnant. The couple is living too tired now in order to give their children a better life. His wife has to squeeze the bus with people to work every day with a big belly. And I have to go out at 7:20 in the morning every day, and it's 11:30 when I get home. In order to earn a relatively moderate salary in Jiangcheng. 2 people can't even see each other for a day. And now. Damn it, Liang Pippi found an opportunity to deduct another 1,000 yuan from him. Watching Chen Nanfeng sitting in a chair with a confused expression. Wang Yifei, who was in his group, couldn't help but sigh. The salary level in Jiangcheng is like this, they just unfortunately encountered Liang Pippi. He wanted to persuade Chen Nanfeng, but he didn't know where to start. By the way, Wang Yifei suddenly thought of something. Feng, do you know about Suyi opening a company? Suyi. Chen Nanfeng recalled for a moment before saying. I know, what's wrong? Feng, have you ever thought about resigning from Mumu and trying Su Ye's side? Go to Su Ye's side. Chen Nanfeng murmured without speaking. Wang Yifei didn't ask any more questions when he saw Chen Nanfeng's appearance. Noon. Su Yi, dressed in red clothes and pants, didn't dare to go to the cafeteria for a meal and called for a takeout. I didn't expect it. Along with the takeout, there were also Chen Nanfeng. For Chen Nanfeng, Su Yi has a slight impression. The old scalper in the technical department is recognized as an honest person in the company. He doesn't know his strength, but he has a really good temper and works hard. It's just how he found himself. Su Yi, no, Mr. Su. Looking at Chen Nanfeng's stumbling appearance, Su Yi dodged and let him in. Brother Chen, are you here to find me for something? Su Yi placed takeout on her desk and asked. Chen Nanfeng looked at Su Ye's office, which was not big, but it was clean and tidy. The office equipment has not yet entered the site. There is not even a computer on the table. It seems that Su Ye's entrepreneurship is not easy either. Well, no, it's okay. I just heard that you started a business. Come over, come and take a look. Su Yi moved out a chair and gestured for Chen Nanfeng to sit down first. Brother Chen, are there any difficulties? No, there's no difficulty. Looking at Chen Nanfeng's embarrassed expression, Su Yi was even more certain that he definitely had something to look for himself. Borrow money? I don't think so. Chen Nanfeng's salary level in the technical department was much higher than Su Yi in the operations department at that time. What would that be? Chen, it's okay. We're all colleagues. If there's anything you can do, just let me know. I won't refuse anything I can help with. Chen Nanfeng looked at Su Yi. After scrutinizing the surrounding environment again, he cautiously said. Suyi, your company has invested a lot in starting up. It's okay, do whatever you want first. Chen Nanfeng is a bit cramped. He doesn't know how to talk to Suyi. Suyi has just started a company, so it must not be easy. Relying on his colleague's identity to make demands to him doesn't feel very kind. Brother Chen, we are all old men. It hurts to speak quickly, otherwise I will start having lunch. Chen Nanfeng didn't look fake when he saw Suyi. He gritted his teeth. Looking up at Suyi, he said. Suyi, I want to ask your side. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Account cancelled. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Account cancellation. Mumu Company. Wang Yifei returned from eating and saw that Chen Nanfeng was not there. I can't help but feel a bit strange. Usually, Chen Nanfeng brings food from home by himself, saying it's for health. But Wang Yifei knew that Chen Nanfeng's only reason for bringing food was to save money. For someone like him who eats alone and the whole family is not hungry. Saving money or something, it doesn't exist at all. However, Chen Nanfeng, who has always stayed in the company and never ran around, surprisingly disappeared today. It's really strange. Building 1-201 within Qingyun technology. Under inner pressure and Su Ye's inquiry, Chen Nanfeng finally said a sentence. Suyi, may I ask if your company is still hiring people? Recruiting people. Suyi instinctively wanted to shake her head and refuse. He started the company for the convenience of checking in and hiring people, which is not in his consideration. However, the honest person recognized by Mumu Company asked himself what this meant. He can't continue working in Mumu anymore. What is the reason? Liang Weinan, Liang Pipi. It must be him. Can push Chen Nanfeng, an honest person, to this level. That guy Liang Weinan must have performed his ultimate skill again. Deducting his salary. Brother Chen, is it Liang Pipi? Chen Nanfeng nodded and recounted what would happen this morning. I live on my salary now. My wife will give birth in 2 months, and I don't have any money at this time. It's really not good. Speaking of this, Chen Nanfeng, a man who is 180 meters tall, surprisingly choked up a bit. This Liang peels his skin, it's really so bland. Suyi cursed. But my heart began to sum up. Although Qingyun Company is not prepared to do any business, I'm not ready to hire anyone either. But Chen Nanfeng, such a big old man, was forced into this by Liang Pipi. He also held a breath in his heart. Okay, Brother Chen. It's rare for you to look up to me, and I'm not being affected anymore. What's your salary at Mumu's end? I'll give you a lot of money. You can resign today and come directly to work next Monday. Really? Chen Nanfeng's eyes lit up. Of course, I will still deceive you. Thank you, thank you. Suyi, oh no, Mr. Su, thank you, thank you. Chen Nanfeng stood up and held Su Ye's hand, constantly thanking him. It's okay, nothing. Just as Su Yi was speaking, a light curtain appeared before his eyes. Name. Chen Nanfeng, occupation. Programmer, level. Level 5, 99%. What is this? Su Yi was stunned. Is this caused by the system? He saw a question mark appearing at the level. I clicked subconsciously. Skill level description. Skill level 1 is the lowest, level 9 is the highest, this is a big weapon. As an entrepreneur, the biggest concern is not only the leakage of project privacy. The most frightening thing is that the entrusted person is not human. A good helper can provide great help in advancing the project. It can even allow the project to have greater development. Entrepreneurship seem to be about starting a business. By relying on one person to fight alone, even if you have strong abilities, you can still lead the company to a certain extent. A hero needs 3 more helpers. So, entrepreneurship is about leading this group of like-minded people forward together. If Suyi wants to have greater development in the future. So the function provided by the system is its biggest booster. Suyi, Mr. Su, are you okay? Chen Nanfeng was stunned when he saw Suyi and couldn't help but ask. Oh, it's okay. By the way, Brother Chen, I would like to ask if our Long Han Empire has any level certification for programmers. There is none of this. Okay, let's leave this aside for now. I'll print out a copy of the employment contract later, and you can come and sign it when you have time. Okay, no problem, then I'll go back first. Chen Nanfeng came out of Qingyun technology with a slightly lighter pace. Although Suyi is a newly established company, according to his personality, success is bound to come in the future. Now, all you need to do is submit your resignation application and wait for next week's start. Think of it here. He couldn't help but take out his phone and edit a message to send to his wife. Return to Mumu Company. Wang Yifei saw Chen Nanfeng's figure at a glance. Feng, did you go out just now? Looking at the uncontrollable smile on his face, Wang Yifei couldn't help but wonder what made Chen Nanfeng, who was still worried this morning, look like this. Well, I went out once. Chen Nanfeng took out his lunch box from the nearby refrigerator and prepared to go and heat up the meal. Wang Yifei didn't continue to ask when he saw this. He lay bored on the table and opened the wooden software on his phone. Immediately. Open your mouth wide. He sat up and looked in shock towards Chen Nanfeng. Well, Feng Gu really went to Suyi Company for an interview. At the same time, the small group of employees at Mumu Company has also completely exploded. Just now, everyone was chatting about today's morning meeting, but unexpectedly, Chen Nanfeng sent a message over. Wife, I passed the interview with Su Ye's company and my salary is the same as in Mumu. I'll treat you to steak when I come home tonight. Originally. Just now, Chen Nanfeng was excited and accidentally sent the message to the employee group by mistake. Now, the group has completely exploded. Chen, how is Suyi Company? Brother Chen, could you help recommend me? I also want to resign. Brother Chen, you'll be back to work next week to check on the situation. If possible, let's go in a group. Brother Chen, you went to the interview quietly. Brother Chen, this is a seamless connection, 666. Chen Nanfeng, who was cooking, heard his phone ringing incessantly. I thought my wife was also happy for me. When he took out his phone and was about to reply to a message, he found start construction in the afternoon. Bai Panggao saw no one paying attention to him. I sneaked into Liang Weinan's office. Mr. Liang, I have a message to report to you. Bai Panggao told Liang Weinan exactly what happened to Chen Nanfeng. Liang Weinan was furious at the words. This Chen Nanfeng has been deducted due to his poor business ability. Just because of such a small matter, I deviated from the company. Don't worry about this kind of person. Liang Weinan angrily patted the table and cursed loudly. After scolding for a few minutes, he still couldn't help but feel angry. After letting Bai Panggao leave, he asked the head of the operations department, Li Hui, to come in. Li Hui. Go and cancel the accounts of Chen Nanfeng and Suyi for me. Log out. Li Hui doesn't know what happened yet. Liang Weinan glanced heavily at Li Hui, who had nothing but her figure. If it weren't for her good skills, how could she have been appointed as the head of the operations department? Well, cancel it. You can do it now. Liang Weinan impatiently waved his hand and sent Li Hui away. Suyi, who was bored with looking at the scenery outside the company, suddenly received a mobile message. He opened it and found that Mumu's account had been logged in. Suyi entered the password but saw a prompt box pop up. Your account does not exist. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. One Arrow's Revenge. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 9. One Arrow's Revenge in the Entrepreneurship Service Hall. Li Qianqian was bored and leaning against the corner of the front desk. Listen to the chat of several older sisters next to you. I have been interning here for a week now. So far, only Su Yi can be considered a customer. Our Xiaozhuang can already walk. Really, Xiaozhuang is not even 1 year old, right? Sister Lu, children cannot walk too early as it is not good for bone development. I can't do anything about it. The little one just needs to leave and often holds onto the bed to contact me when I'm not paying attention. Oh my, that's really good. This child must be precocious. Sister Lu, you did prenatal education for Xiaozhuang in advance, right? Where is there, just make it casually. I heard a group of married girls next to me exchanging parenting experiences. Li Qianqian rolled her eyes, she really couldn't get involved in this topic. Open your phone and aimlessly flip through the pages above. Unexpectedly saw a post on the Jiangqing forum. Red-clad man running in the morning near Qingchuan Park. There are pictures and truth behind them, look at hundreds of comments and likes below. Li Qianqian clicked on the post. By the way, I also said roast in my heart. The spiritual world of netizens is currently in a vacuum. Just like me. Li Qianqian crossed over the previous text without looking at it. Just flip through the pictures below. Under the sunshine. A man wearing a red Superman T-shirt and a red hot pants underneath. Running. Wearing a red hat on his head. The brim of his hat was pressed low, making it difficult to see his face clearly. Against the backdrop of a red outfit, the person's skin appears particularly white and pure. Li Qianqian opened the picture and wanted to focus on observing the person's face. I don't know why. Seeing this person's appearance, she always has a very familiar feeling. It's as if I've seen it somewhere before. Oh, this seems to be Su Yi, who came to start the company that day. Li Qianqian recalled. When we met yesterday, she was amazed by Su Ye's appearance and skin. However, due to the situation at the time, it was not demonstrated. At first glance, it does look more and more like Su Yi. She opened the wooden door to inquire about the situation. But found out that Su Ye's account could never be found. What is the situation? Did you delete me? Li Qianqian's anger surged as he rubbed against it. When in school, many boys wanted their wooden number but didn't succeed. Yesterday, I took the initiative to add this Su Yi, but unexpectedly turned around and deleted myself. Who gave you the courage? Sister Lu, I'll go out for a while. Sister Lu looked up at the electronic clock in the hall, it was already past 3 o'clock. Qianqian, why don't you just leave work? Anyway, there won't be much trouble this time. After work. Well, let's go. We already have fewer people here, so you can go back first. Oh, okay. Li Qianqian went to the changing room to change clothes and walked out with a bewildered expression on her face. This treatment is too good, isn't it? I'll be off work at 3 o'clock. However, in that case, there will be time to go and question Su Yi. Don't think that you can do whatever you want just by being a little handsome. Miss, I will definitely expose your ugly face. After finishing his resignation, Chen Nanfeng packed his things and prepared to leave. I only remembered on the first floor that his wife hasn't finished work yet. How about going to Sui Company to sit down? It just saves me having to transport things back and bring them over. It's back and forth, it's strange to make trouble for people. Dudu. Su Yi is getting angry. Liang Weinan, this guy, has successfully cancelled his account. He still needs to register again. However, registering an account for Mao requires a fee. Brother looks up to you when using your software, and you also have to charge a fee. Sui angrily refused. The software automatically exits. At that moment, he heard the sound of knocking on the door. Hey, Brother Chen, the resignation is done now. Looking at what was in Chen Nanfeng's hand, Suyi casually asked. Well, it's done. Chen Nanfeng walked into the office and looked at the only 4 tables, asking, Suyi, where am I sitting? Where are you sitting? Sit casually. My small company doesn't have so many rules, just choose the one you like. Chen Nanfeng nodded and placed his things on a table near the window. Suyi, what kind of business does our company do? Prepare. This one. I'm still thinking about it. Suyi felt embarrassed and touched the back of her head. He started the company just to clock in and do business, and he never considered it. Looking at Suyi's perfunctory expression, Chen Nanfeng understood that this guy must have never considered the direction of his business. I guess it was because of a hot head and anger towards Liang Weinan's character that he resigned and opened this company. Think of it here. Chen Nanfeng felt a slight sourness in his heart. This is the wealthy second generation, this is the child of the wealthy. He is eager to make big money himself. Make your child a wealthy second generation. In future life, there is no need to worry about money. Don't rush around for the sake of life. So, what kind of work am I doing here? Chen Nanfeng asked cautiously. This one. Suyi is stuck. His company hasn't even purchased a computer. What should I ask Chen Nanfeng to do when he is hired? At that moment, the office door was knocked on again. Dudu. Suyi quickly got up and arrived at the door. I saw a young and beautiful little sister standing at the door. A pure white cotton shirt. 9/4 jeans with exposed ankles. A pair of white-edged 5-star canvas shoes under my feet. Long hair draped over the shoulders, beautiful and magnificent. Hello, may I ask who you are looking for? Seeing Suyi froze for a moment as she opened the door. Li Qianqian's pride and anger subsided for a while, and he said, Mr. Su, you don't know me so soon. Su Ye's head was full of question marks. Miss, do we know each other? He couldn't recall for a moment who this youthful, energetic, and beautiful girl was. I can only stand still and smile awkwardly. I'm Li Qianqian. Yesterday, I helped you with the business of opening a company. Why, Mr. Su, many noble people forget things, so soon they don't remember. Oh, I'm sorry, I really didn't recognize you wearing clothes. Please come in quickly. Looking at Li Qianqian's coquettish expression, Suyi felt her heart skip a beat. Quickly move aside and let Li Qianqian in. Li Qianqian looked around and couldn't help but frown as she looked at the office without even a computer. Mr. Su, your equipment hasn't entered yet. Not really. These days, I will first plan my business direction. I haven't had time to make a purchase yet. Suyi sneered and said. Fortunately, Chen Nanfeng asked this question just now, otherwise it would have been difficult for him to answer. I can't say I've been daydreaming in the company all day. Oh, how was the plan? Li Qianqian turned her head and asked. At this moment, she suddenly noticed that Suyi was all red. That's right. Suyi, Mr. Su, was playing performance art near the Youth Innovation Park this morning. Li Qianqian suddenly had plans in her heart. She wants to sneak a photo of Suyi and post it on the forum when he's not paying attention. In retaliation for his one-shot revenge of deleting himself. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Business Direction. That's it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Business Direction. That's it. Suyi is still unaware of Li Qianqian's plans. He followed beside him, pondering in his heart the purpose of Li Qianqian's arrival here. Inspection. Follow up. I don't think so. If it's for work, I will definitely wear professional attire. Instead of the current attire. That's being addicted to my beauty and unable to extricate oneself. Suyi instinctively looked into Li Qianqian's eyes. I happened to see her meaningful gaze. My heart suddenly tightened. Lying trough. Are girls nowadays so fierce? No wonder it is said online that boys must learn to protect themselves when going out. The ancients never deceived me. So, Miss Li, may I ask if you have anything to do? It's okay, I'll come over and see if there's anything you need to help with. Li Qianqian can't say that I'm here to challenge you. Okay, thank you very much. Just take a look, I'll chat with my colleagues for a while. Suyi discovered and chatted with the girl Li Qianqian. It's better to talk to this old man Chen Nanfeng together. Just asking about the wooden vessel. Chen, by the way, I just cancelled my wooden account. What's going on? Ah. Your account has also been cancelled. Suyi nodded. I'm sorry, Mr. Su. It's all me who has implicated you. Next, Chen Nanfeng told Suyi about sending the wrong message. And then he kept apologizing to Suyi. Suyi waved her hands repeatedly. Chen, it's none of your business, don't apologize either. I didn't expect Liang Pippi to have such a small aura that he wouldn't be able to become anything grand just like this. If Li Qianqian is not here, Suyi will definitely curse loudly. I don't know why. Although I am not accustomed to close contact with her. But Suyi still wants to leave a good impression on the other party. Hey. Chen Nanfeng sighed and remained silent. Li Qianqian has been walking around the office looking around, actually. But he was perking up his ears to listen to Suyi and Chen Nanfeng's conversation. When I heard that Suyi's account had been ordered to be cancelled by the former company owner, my heart suddenly relaxed. Turns out, this guy didn't intentionally delete me. Immediately. She was disgusted again by the boss named Liang Pippi in her heart. Let's cancel the employee account. He definitely doesn't violate any regulations or rules. But a big boss, president, founder of internet company. Surprisingly treat one's employees like this. Indeed, as Suyi said, climate cannot be achieved. It's so despicable. Suyi and Chen Nanfeng couldn't help but look back. Li Qianqian also realized something was wrong and quickly covered her mouth. Miss Li, are you listening to our conversation? No, I didn't eavesdrop. It's just that you spoke loudly, I accidentally heard it. Yes, I accidentally heard it. Looking at Li Qianqian's flustered expression, Suyi couldn't help but feel amused. But he said with a serious expression, Miss Li, if there's nothing else, please leave first. My partner and I still need to discuss our next business direction. It's inconvenient for you to stay here. What can you two explore? Why don't I give you an idea? Li Qianqian said without hesitation. What? Suyi turned her head and even Chen Nanfeng couldn't help but take a glance. Li Qianqian organized his thoughts. With a firm expression, he said, if I had to tell you, you two shouldn't be fooling around with any business direction. Just make your own chat app. Do it yourself. Suyi and Chen Nanfeng exchanged a glance, then turned their heads together to look at Li Qianqian. Yes, Mr. Su, didn't you just say that you are the operator of Mumu? And your partner is a programmer for Mumu. I think you can completely form your own team and start making chat apps. This. Suyi hesitated a bit. This. Chen Nanfeng's eyes lit up. Watching the two of them being suppressed by her own words, Li Qianqian couldn't help but feel proud. It seems that I have a high possibility of becoming a startup mentor for Qingyun company. If Suyi company really follows its own direction. In the future, I can boast with my sisters in the same dormitory. Yes. You must believe in your own abilities. Both of you are professionals in the industry. Instead of starting with an unfamiliar task, it's better to start with your familiar field. And, I just heard what you mean. The boss of Mumu has poor character, why can't we take the opportunity to dig a wave of people from there? Upon hearing these words, Chen Nanfeng's eyes became even brighter. Mr. Su. When I resigned just now, many colleagues did express this willingness. You also know about the situation with Mumu. If we really follow what Miss Li said, at least there is no problem with the personnel. Yeah. Li Qianshan patted the table with one hand, looking passionate. Internet industry. What we do is the project, and what we compete for is manpower. As long as your personnel are in place and the project prospects are promising, then everything else is fine. Additionally, if you lack startup funds, I can help you apply for a loan. That's not necessary. Suyi shook her head and refused. He was constantly calculating this matter in his heart. Being a good person and doing things oneself doesn't like to owe money. I will feel uncomfortable. But is this project really feasible? My own goal is to open a company to facilitate my check that in. As a result, Chen Nanfeng's heart softened at noon and he was recruited. Now, in order to deal with him and Li Qianshan, we have to put in a lot of effort to think about the company's business. The key is, Chen Nanfeng must have something to do when he joins the company. Otherwise, over time, people will think they are laundering money. Well, let's do it this way. I'll think about the project again when I go back. Brother Chen, Miss Li, if you're okay, let's go back first. Chen Nanfeng stood up, carrying his black backpack and bidding farewell to Suyi before leaving. For a while. There are only two people left in the office, Suyi and Li Qianshan. Miss Li. Looking at Li Qianshan not moving a step, Suyi asked curiously. Well, I'm fine. I'll leave first. Let's talk when I have time. Li Qianshan didn't know what a person was thinking standing there. My face turned red. After being interrupted by Suyi, I hurriedly prepared to leave. I forgot to open the glass door and accidentally bumped into it. Suyi couldn't help but support her forehead behind her. This Li Qianshan is not a dual personality, is she? Sometimes rational, sometimes childish. When I took myself to handle business yesterday, it was quite normal for a child. How could it be like this? Curious in her heart, Suyi couldn't help but concentrate. Focus your gaze on Li Qianshan. In front of me. A light curtain lit up. Name. Li Qianshan, occupation. End of this chapter.